What is up, bros? Welcome to another Brograph tutorial. I'm Dave Koss, and it has been quite a while. In fact, it's been almost a month with the holidays and everything, but we are ready to ramp it back up. It's getting close to NAB, and we're getting excited, and so we're going to start doing a lot more tutorials here in the new year, and the great part is that we get to start out with a really fun tutorial about the Oculus Rift and Cinema 4D. So, I'm going to teach you how to get started and get a project from Cinema into Unity, even if you've never used Unity before. It's extremely simple. If you're asking, should I get an Oculus Rift? The answer is yes. It's awesome. The resolution isn't quite where it's going to be, but it doesn't mean that it's not already amazing. So if you have an Oculus Rift and you have Unity and you have Cinema 4D and you're ready to build some stuff, it's really cool to be able to build stuff and then go into the things that you've built. Go into those worlds, because we all sit here in front of our screens every day doing 3D and whatever, but when you actually enter this creation that you've made, it's actually quite an interesting thing. It's kind of surreal almost. So I'm going to start out in Cinema 4D. You're going to need to start a new scene, which I've done here. And then you're going to want to open Unity, and you're going to go to File, and you're going to do a new project. Not a new scene, a new project. Okay? You're going to give it a name. In this case, I'm going to call this City. Now, there are packages that you can install by default when you do a new project, and the only one we're going to install today is this character controller, because there's a script in there that we're going to use, and so that's all you need to do. Create the project. It's going to sit there and it's going to build the initial build and compile those scripts. And once that is done, you're going to have this empty scene going on right here. The next thing that you want to do is go to your Finder or your Explorer or wherever you keep your downloaded files. I just put this on the desktop. With your Oculus developer kit, the SDK, you can also get, I don't believe it's in the root of the SDK, I think it's a separate thing. I can't remember at this point, but you get this Unity library. It's the OVR Unity library. And in it is a folder called Oculus Unity Integration. And what's great about this is, in order to use the Oculus Rift with Unity, all you have to do is open this one package. I'm going to open the integration package. It's going to bring in this importing package here. Don't worry about what's in it, just hit import. It's going to bring the whole thing right in. So far, so good. If you haven't used Unity before, no problem. Even the navigation is similar to Cinema 4D. So we've got this set up here. We're going to save it. And you'll see the structure. The way that this saves is, by default, it saves your project. Mine is called City. And then you have assets. And within your assets of your project are your different scenes that you're building. In this case, I'm going to build a scene. I'm going to call it City. I'll save that. And now we're going to move into Cinema 4D. In Cinema 4D, I'm going to make a plane. I'm going to make it kind of long here. And that's going to be a street. We're going to build not a full city, but just kind of a mock-up of what a city would look like if you were trying to build something for the Oculus Rift. I'm going to make a cube. And this is going to be my building. You can make these any size you want. I'm just going to do kind of a variety, and I'm going to hold down Command and drag so that I'm creating multiple buildings here. And so on and so forth. You can make this as detailed or not detailed as you want. This is just so we can learn how to bring a scene in. So that's one side of the street for me. Then I'm going to do another side of the street. So I've got like this street going on here with buildings on each side, And just for a reference point of north, I'm going to put a cone at the north end right here. And if you really want to have some fun with it, go to the internet, and I'm going to get a banana. I got this banana for free off of Turbo Squid. And I'll put that in there. And then we have a banana for scale, of course. Now, our banana for scale is way too big because that's supposed to be a building. So I'm going to scale that way down. Maybe even a little more. Okay, so that we kind of have a comparison here once we get into the Unity scene. Alright, so there's my small banana for scale in this big city. Now here's what's great about Unity. It brings Cinema 4D right in. So I'm going to save this, and I'm going to go back to the city project into the assets folder. Remember, we saved that scene, the city scene, right in there. So I'm going to save the Cinema 4D scene as city. And watch this. I'm going to go back over to Unity. And then it's going to say, oh, you put a Cinema 4D file in there. Sweet. And it puts it right here inside of my assets. Now, if I, oops, I don't want to do that. If I drag it into the scene, hello, drag it into the scene. Okay. I guess I have to drag it into the hierarchy on the left. The hierarchy is kind of like your object window in Cinema 4D, and what's really cool about the way that it integrates with Cinema 4D is, say you were building this city, and say you were building it in another directory somewhere else, and you wanted to continuously work on that, but you wanted to get started in Unity, get some things set up, and then go back to Cinema 4D and expand upon what you were working on. Well, you can just go straight to Cinema 4D and that other directory, continuously save and update your project. When you're done, take that file and overwrite the city file that you have in your assets folder over here, and it will just kind of pop in and replace the scene that you had going on here. That's a real nice feature. Now, the rotation navigation, as far as, oh, no wonder I was having a problem. Let me explain this, because this might come up. You've got a scene tab here, and then you've got a game tab here. Game is what you will see in game. That's why I couldn't drag my city into the viewport. I should have dragged it into the scene. The scene is just like your viewport in Cinema 4D. You'll have to think of the game tab as kind of like what would be your final product, your render in Cinema 4D. In scene, we can see the geometry, and we can see what's going on. But you'll notice that in the game, you just see a silhouette, and that's because there's not a light in here yet. And there's kind of the same navigation, like I said, except it's more like Maya. Q is going to be your pan, your move tool, like this. Rotation by holding down the Option key. I got a muscle memory now. I don't even remember what it is. And if you hold down Option and click drag, you can zoom in and out. But if you're on a laptop, you can use a 2-finger zoom, which is a lot easier. I prefer that, actually. Then as far as your other pieces in the scene, it's everything is shifted as far as move and scale and rotate. So let me show you an example here. This main camera that's going on. This is what you would usually use in Unity, but we're not going to do that because we're working with the Oculus Rift, and so we need like a left-right stereo camera setup. Now that is what was provided in the SDK for Oculus Rift that we loaded a couple minutes ago. So if I control click here and then I hit delete, I'm going to delete this main camera. Now I'm deleting that main camera because we're bringing in the other camera. It's under OVR down here in Assets, there's something in a folder here called Prefabs. And in Prefabs, there's this camera setup all ready to go for the Oculus Rift. And when you drag it in, you'll see it appears here in the middle of the scene. Now, you've got W, E, and R rather than E, R, and T in Cinema for navigation, or for moving and rotating and scaling. So let's start by hitting the W key so you can move the camera around. If I zoom out here, you'll notice that it's a very wide field of view for the camera. But it is pointing the wrong direction. We want it to point toward the cone. So I'm going to hit E for rotate, and I'm going to rotate it around. You could also do it over here. You've got your, your same kind of controls and variables as you would have in Cinema. And what I'm going to do is zoom in. Still not very good with this here. And I'm going to put my camera right above street level. So we got that going for us. Now, in the Game tab over here, like I was talking about before, you've got silhouettes. It's because there's no light. And what you need to do is go to Game Object, Create Other, and then put in a directional light. This directional light is going to work like a directional light in Cinema 4D. The way that works is you can basically have it anywhere in the scene. You just change the angle. So see right here, I'm changing the angle like this. And there are no shadows. That's probably the first thing you're going to notice. And it's the same exact thing that happens in Cinema, where the default lights don't have shadows. So over here on the right, I'm just going to turn on hard shadows. And you can see what happens here. We got shadows going down on this side, and I can change the rotation like that, and it moves our shadows. Now, I'd like to have shadows on the right side of the street just for this, and when I go to the Game tab, you can see now there are shadows here, and we have the two views for the Oculus, and there's a little thing at the top on the right side of the window here. It says Maximize on Play. Now, I have it off right now because when I hit play, I just want to see what's going on within this window. You can see I'm moving the Oculus around. I don't want it full screen. I'm not actually looking at it inside of the Oculus right now. If that maximizes on, you'll be able to look inside. So, I'm going to hit stop there and go back to the scene. Now, the only thing that we have left is the ability to move forward and backward and left and right. That's something we want to add because we want to be able to navigate through the scene. So, when we first set up this project, we installed the controllers, the character controllers. And if you look under these assets, under character controllers, there's a bunch of different stuff in here, but you don't have to worry about it. Just keep going down until you get to this bottom folder in here called Scripts. And what we want is the FPS Input Controller. And that's something that's usually used if you're designing a game. But what we're going to do is integrate that script into the OVR camera controller from Oculus Rift. So if you click on it here in your hierarchy, you can see on the right side, here's all your options and everything. And I'm going to drag the FPS Input Controller into here. So now we have control. Now here's the thing, if you hit play, watch what happens. Nothing. In fact, I'll turn the Oculus upright and I'll do it again and show you what happens. Hit play. I'm falling. That's because there's physics, there's gravity and all sorts of stuff. Now, if you're designing a game, you're going to design the ground plane and all the different pieces so that it's solid. Right now, for this purpose, we're just going to bypass all of that. And in this, where is it? Under movement, so you've got character motor script right here. We're going to go to movement. And under the max fall speed, we're just going to say 0 fall speed so that we never fall. And notice I hit play. And now there's my scene. Now here's the only thing. We're looking forward right now. And the buildings really don't look that big. I'm looking straight forward. If I point Oculus Rift up, I want to see more buildings. I want to really feel like I'm in the scene. I want to be able to go up to that banana and have that banana look like it's the right size. So I'm going to turn off the simulation here. Now, in the city, over here under hierarchy, under city, you've got scale, and it's set to 1. So we're going to change it in each of these fields to 10. When I click on the camera, I'm going to make sure that we're right down at the ground plane, and then I'm going to zoom out just a little bit because I'd like to go put the camera right by the banana. That's close enough. So we'll start out right there. Now, when I hit play, look how big it is. When you look up, you're looking up at the tops of buildings. It gives you the sense of scale, which is really cool, especially when you're building your own model. So that looks like it's ready to go, so I'm going to go take a tour. I'm going to save. I'm going to go to my Game tab and turn on Maximize on Play. And hit play. Set this down. Here we go. Alright. So now I'm in here. Where's my mic? Hello, Mike. Notice I added some googly eyes here. Alright, so now I want to walk around, and you can see now I go up to my banana for scale, and I'm really looking at it. Now, you might get some issues here with back culling. You might have to adjust that because you start to go through objects if you get too close. So you can see I have to look up all the way to see the tops of these buildings. And I'm using my left and right and forward and backward keys, and I'm just taking a tour through this world. And here's my reference cone for north, and you can see here are my shadows coming in. See, now I'm under a shadow that I created on the right side, and that's fun. Now I'll go back to the banana. Where am I here? I don't have my mouse in my hand to turn around, so I have to walk backwards. There's my banana. So now I'm back at the banana. I can go look at it this way. I can turn all the way around, look. Sweet. It's a real nice banana. So there it is. It's pretty good, I guess. So, that is an intro on Unity and Cinema 4D. There's not much to it. If you haven't used Unity before, that's a very, very good way to get into it and learn the very minimal basics. So, I hope you enjoyed this. I'm learning this integration right now as well, so hopefully I'll learn some more. I'd like to go into texturing and all that kind of stuff eventually once I figure all of that out. And that's about it. So please get on YouTube and subscribe to us. There's going to be a lot more videos coming up. And subscribe to our newsletter, which goes out every once in a while. It's not that often, which is nice. We don't bug you too much. And get on Facebook and like us as well. And we hope to be hearing from you. If you're working on something like this, we'd love to see what you're doing as well. Until next time, later, bros. Real nice banana.